O'Connor of The Ringer had an interesting update on the Ben Simmons Sixers saga. So we know 6 weeks ago, Doc Rivers, Daryl Morey, Elton Brand flew to L.A. to try and convince Ben Simmons to return to training camp. And sources with knowledge of the meeting say Simmons gave no clear reason for why he demanded to be traded earlier in the offseason. They also say that Simmons does feel slighted by the comments that Rivers and Joel Embiid made after their playoff series loss to the Hawks, but the decision isn't based on that. And the Sixers brass left the meeting feeling Simmons had essentially said, "It's not you, it's me," which really means it's you.
Yeah.
Well, league sources say the primary motivation for the aggressive holdout is to steer him to a team built around him on offense, which would make sense. We all know that this doesn't fit because no matter what the roster is in Philadelphia, he's always going to be number 2 to Embiid if Embiid is healthy. But Simmons apparently didn't make that clear in the meeting. Rivers asked him if the problem was his offensive role. He said no. So on Tuesday, The Athletic reported that Simmons doesn't believe his style is conducive to playing with Embiid.
I agree.
The Sixers and the Simmons want some of the same things, but Simmons wants to be the man.
Well, first of all, Simmons is right. His style with Embiid does not work.
Right, but we've seen that for years.
Yeah, we know that. The second thing, I want to be the man. Be very careful. Dame's the man. Steph's the man. LeBron's the man. You can't be Kevin Durant's the man. Hard to be the man when you can't shoot. And you don't appear to be willing
to shoot.
Yeah, and you won't get better at it. You're indifferent to coaching, apparently. That's my problem, is that I do think he's right on the fit in Philly, and I do think he is better served surrounded by shooters and a team that plays more small ball. But the idea that I want to be the man, I'd get over yourself, because in the end, in a scoring league now where like 118 to 115 is a Tuesday night, you're not offensively brilliant.
Well, apparently it's more about being in like a Giannis type of role. But we've never questioned that a team that Giannis has been on isn't Giannis's. Giannis is very clearly
Do you feel that Simmons, I mean, there's a lot to say about personality. Do you feel like Ben Simmons is an alpha that a franchise...
No.
I don't either. That's my thing.
No, and we have enough evidence of what Ben Simmons is. You would have to completely reconstruct your entire roster around Ben Simmons in order for him to be that player.
Let's just forget game, just personality. Dame, his personality is that of a 1. Giannis, personality of a 1. LeBron, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. A lot of this is, do they have the personality? Give me the ball. I'm scoring. Ben's personality feels like a 2 to a 3 to me.
He's in the first year of his brand new deal, and he's asking to be traded. I mean, the season is starting when this is happening. So, no, absolutely not. Like, you would have to completely reconstruct your roster in order to make this situation work. And for him, and listen, I think there's plenty of blame to go on both sides here. Like, we all saw this coming. This is not surprising that the situation has happened the way that it has. So while I'm generally on the player's side, and I am on Ben Simmons' side to some degree, I think there's more blame to go around. Morey also compared the Simmons situation to that of Aaron Rodgers, who obviously had a lot of drama but ended up staying for one more season.
Well, but Aaron Rodgers is wildly productive and has a history of winning at the highest level.
Correct.
Yeah, Ben doesn't. I can say what I want about Aaron, but Aaron shows up on Sunday and is almost always offensively brilliant. Ben was terrified
he's
to shoot.
One of 3 people on earth that can do what he does.
I'm not sure if anybody could have done Sunday.
He has a championship and MVPs to prove it. Like this is a different tier. Everything is not linear here. So the Steelers are now 1-2, having lost to the Bengals at Heinz Field for the first time since 2015 on Sunday. And Mike Tomlin said his team is going to stay the course.
Man, we're not going to push the panic button. What do I mean by the panic button? You know, we're not going to dramatically change who and what we are at this juncture. We're not resistant to change for the purposes of getting better, but we're not going to be so unsteady that we move away from our compass, the identity that we worked hard to develop and will continue to work hard to develop, and the emphasis on a style of play, whatever that may be in all 3 phases.
Far be it for me to question Mike Tomlin, who has never had a losing season.
Right.
But whatever you're doing this season is not working.
Well, organizationally, let me support Tomlin. Did Tomlin want Ben back?
Well, I mean, no. But I mean, will we ever know that? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I don't know that if Tomlin wanted him back. We don't know if he wants him back.
If you are this bad at quarterback, there's nothing Tomlin can do. I'm going to give Mike a pass on this.
No. I'm not putting this on Tomlin.
Yeah.
I'm saying that they absolutely need to change what they're doing.
Yeah.
They can't run the ball. They have major injuries on defense. Ben looks old, and they're asking him to throw it. The one thing that they do need to change is they're asking him to throw it 50 times a game.
Yeah.
It's not reasonable. Now I understand you can't run the ball, so what can you really do? But it's not like what is frustrating about the Steelers is this is not surprising. You can't predict injuries. Okay, we all know that everyone's going to have injuries, but you can't plan your season around like, well, TJ Watt's going to get injured in week 2. We don't know that, obviously. But you knew that Ben had limitations, despite the fact that he's coming in saying that he lost weight and he's in the best shape of his life. Like, it doesn't matter. He's still Ben at this point in his career.
Right.
If he's 1% better than he was last year, okay, you still need to prepare accordingly.
Yeah.
So they have some real problems. And it doesn't get any easier because now they have the Packers in Green Bay this weekend. They're currently favored by 6.5. So things could get from bad to worse really quickly, depending on how that game goes. So the Colts and Marlon Mack have mutually agreed to seek a trade, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero. He reported it yesterday. He had a great rookie season. But Jonathan Taylor has taken over as the starter, and the contract extension of Nyheim Hines has, kind of sent this into motion.
I mean, but this is what we talked about when the Rams lost Cam Akers.
Yeah.
Running back is one of those positions at the trading deadline. There's going to be there's players. Marlon Mack's a nice player. He's more a 2, but, it's Sony Michel. You absolutely can be productive. Listen, Jonathan Taylor is big time. So to be a backup to Jonathan Taylor is not a crime. Like this, Marlon Mack can play. He's not spectacular. He doesn't catch the ball like one back or run like the other.
Right.
But this is a great opportunity for a team. There's teams out there right now that need. I'll tell you a team that would be interesting. I'm not sure if they'd get him. Carolina with McCaffrey's now recent injury history. Or, by the way, a Pittsburgh, which has one back in Najee Harris.
That we just talked about, who is have the worst rushing offense in the league right now. Now, the Colts haven't really been electric running the ball so far this year either. They're 19th in rushing yards per game and 13th in rushing average per game. So they're around the middle of the league as far as rushing goes, so they need to get that going as well. But, somebody will be able to pick him up, and he'll contribute.
Good stuff, Joy, with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd.